I'm George Buster Rhymes, and this is kvci.blogspot.com, on YouTube, Boston G.B.R. Today is October the 27th, 2012. I just returned back into the city of Valdosta, Georgia, from a Freedom Fund banquet over in Quitman in the county of Brooks. The Brooks County branch of the NAACP was set up as a direct result of the arrest of the Quitman 10+2. The citizens were outraged, and they came together and set up the local Brooks County branch of the NAACP. The NAACP is not a newcomer to Brooks County. It was back in 1918, May to be exact, when the Crisis magazine was in Brooks County and recorded the lynchings of many blacks in what has been known historically as the Week of Terror, from May the 18th through the 24th. Many blacks were rounded up when a Caucasian plantation owner was murdered. Not to get into that, but the plantation owner would pay the fines of blacks, and blacks would go on Mr. Hampton's plantation and work their fines off. But after some blacks had finished paying their fines, of course, Mr. Hampton still would keep them on the plantation to work. And so Mr. Hampton was murdered, and a whole week blacks was in outrage, and eventually someone murdered him. But that's another story. What I want to talk about tonight is, first of all, the NAACP was in Brooks County. The state president, Edward DuBose, the state conference president, along with Larry Lockie, the district coordinator from Waycross, representing many districts here in the state of Georgia. And so the Freedom Fund banquet, the video, I was on location, of course, because that's what I do. Too much of South Georgia history concerning the black African Americans have been ignored. Just like the public meetings over in Brooks County and some in Valdosta, wherein we don't have a black newspaper or no one that are sensitive to the heartbeats of the black African American community and the poor white community and the white right people who want to have free press and freedom of speech to represent and complement the people that are stationed at Moody Air Force Base, who are going to visit Valdosta State University, who visit Kenaloo Golf Course, Georgia Military College, Wild Adventures Theme Park, and other historic sites here in Valdosta. But I have proven over and over again that there is an asserted effort to keep the people in our community deaf, dumb, and blind to the times, and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. And so I was in Quitman tonight. And so after getting back here, I thought I would stop along the street before I put together this YouTube video and share it with the people of South Georgia, the state of Georgia, and the United States of America, and the world for that matter. But no longer will the news and cutting-edge information be ignored here in South Georgia. I understand that there are 5 video cameras now that are operating and that are active, and we intend to do what other news media refuses to do, and that is to keep you informed. Because we realize today that unless we have an informed people, then we cannot have a progressive people, nor can we have an educated populace that will take on the issues and report. For instance, Amy Carter, Ellis Black, Tim Golden missed 3 debates, and this is a presidential election year. Yet they was no shows. I repeat, for whatever reason, they were no shows. But what have you heard on your local television stations? What have you heard on your radio stations? What have you seen printed in your newspaper concerning that? However, if you would check all 5 or 6 operators of these little small cameras and that have now set up YouTubes and blogs to keep you informed, you will know about it. Also visit Facebook. Just Google Representative Amy Carter, Tim Golden, and Ellis Black. and you'll see how people are letting people know now. They are informing the general public against elected officials that work against them. Now, Councilman Wright here in Valdosta stood up very boldly just Thursday of this week, and of course, you know, the beef of what he said, the beef of what Pastor Miller said, the beef of what Dr. Knowles said, the beef of what I said, the beef of all that James Wright talked about Splash 7, about the low economically oppressed people, and how splash funds are not being used in the black African American community, and mainly District 1, regardless of who lives in there. And so tonight, focus, I stopped on the street to do an introduction to the Freedom Fund Banquet, which took place tonight. I was there, and it was 135 people there, all in support of the Quitman 10. Now, the Freedom Fund Banquet is a banquet that happens once a year in most all branches of the NAACP as a way of generating revenue to fight injustices regardless of who may be to blame or who may be at fault. Now, once again, this is George Boston Ryan doing what I do because I'm from Brooks County, and for 7 months I have been trying to get on the Brooks County Board of Education agenda to address my elected officials, and I have been unsuccessful. I also asked under the Open Records Act to know how many people have addressed the Brooks County Board of Education. We'll leave that alone. Look, let's get ready for this video and ask yourself, why is it that on July the 17th at the Brooks County Board of Elections, Brooks County Board of Elections meet a very important meeting, but you don't know nothing about it because they don't want you to know. But I am determined by the grace of Almighty God, along with 9 other people now. This thing is growing now. You don't have to believe it. But I'm just saying to you, just stay tuned. Because what others have tried to keep from you, guess what? By the grace of the God of our ancestors, as Paul Harvey would say, you're going to get the rest of the story. So get ready as we get ready to walk into the introduction for the 2012 Freedom Fund Banquet in Brooks County, Georgia, in the town of Quitman, just 18 miles west of Valdosta. And so I just got back in town, and before I put this together, I wanted to do a prelude about Brooks County, because the history of Brooks County is a deep one. Not to mention the people that have just vanished and disappeared, and nobody knows what happened. Nor have a week of terror, those 13 to 15 blacks that were murdered